child. Today you're going to learn how to make it onto your favourite talent TV show and, most importantly, survive to tell the tale, step by step. We are going to learn some strategies that actually work. In fact, I've used these very same strategies to make it onto two TV shows, The Voice UK and Italian hit TV show Tu Si Que Vales, and I've got to point something out right off the bat. This video is for singers who've already honed their craft, so I won't be repeating the same tips that you've heard a million times. Learn how to breathe, learn how to build, learn how to breathe. Those will be topics I'll be covering in the next few weeks, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to hear more about them. I am Kalon, and if you also want to turn your passion into your career, make sure you watch the rest of this video. So, you're a singer. You might be a professional, or you might be someone with a strong passion for music, and you'd surely know that there is something for you in there. Nothing is worse than being looked over all the time, and I know this feeling all too well. When I first started to sing, I was lucky enough to do backing vocals for some very famous artists, but I wanted to be the one at the front. I auditioned for The Voice UK first season, and I didn't even make it past the very first group audition. And I was already a professional singer, remember that. But I stuck with it, and over the years, after building my career, my work even further, and my confidence to know exactly who I was and what I wanted to offer, I felt that I was ready to try again. I was also aware that these TV shows are kind of hit and miss when it comes to making it after the end of the show, so I thought up a strategy that will help me both get onto the shows and survive to tell the tale. Now the time has come for me to share these tips with you and to show you exactly how you too can be on your favourite talent show and survive to tell the tale. Let's get started with tip number 1. Set your goal and tailor your whole experience around it. Why do you want to be on that TV show? What would you like to get from your appearance? Are you a songwriter and maybe you want to reach a wider audience? Or do you want to do well in the corporate world? Or maybe you're just interested in a bit of fame, or maybe you want to be a touring singer. These shows are pitched as quick ways to turn someone's life around and to give you overnight fame and riches and the key to a magic kingdom. Well, let me burst a bubble for you. They don't. Every single year, across all TV shows, there's literally thousands of new acts being given a platform. And do you think that each one of them magically makes it overnight? No. Setting a realistic goal will help you focus on what you're doing during the auditions, once you make it onto the show, and once the show is over. For me, for instance, it was just to raise my profile enough to take my career to the next level, which I did. I never once intended to win, which I didn't, and that took a hell of a lot of pressure off my shoulders right away. Once you have set your goal, use typecasting to your advantage. So now you know why you want to be on the show and what you'd like to get from it. Now it's time to figure out, why would the show want you? Remember, TV talent shows, they do have a tendency to show quite a variety of types of artists, each one of which has something interesting and quirky about them. So start by figuring out which type you are. Are you someone who does something entirely different for work but then turns into a big belter? Are you someone who likes to sing sad songs and cries all the time? Are you a rocker? Are you Becky with a good hair? So just figure out who you are and add a quirk. Your thing could be anything. Cowboy hats. You could be the person who sings barefoot. Maybe you like dramatic makeup. And remember to take it all the way. Possibly don't get naked on stage. Now that you have all of these things, you can fill your application. Don't bother about quality of the videos, an iPhone will do. Just make sure that the type that we mentioned and the quirk are very heavily featured in every single step of the application, and I absolutely guarantee you'll get a response right away. And now you've had your call and you have an audition time. The next step is song choice. Song choice is something that's very underrated. and actually it's more important that your singing voice itself. It doesn't quite matter as much how good you are. To the producers of these shows, your talent is not quite as important as whether they get a memorable and memeable moment from you to broadcast. And how can you use that to your advantage, you might ask? Right, follow me. Depending on which show you're applying for, they'll give you a list of dozens to possibly hundreds of songs that they want you to learn. Do not bother to learn them. It'll only make you stressed. I didn't learn any of them. Instead, do a search of all the songs that made it to #1 in the last 50 years. Pick around 5 or 6, and I'll tell you in a moment how to pick. And for each of them, you're going to make a version that's exactly the opposite as how the original was sung. Was the song fast? Turn it into a ballad. Was the song a ballad? Then turn it into a rocking vibe. And now, as for which 5 or 6 songs you should pick, think of the very first step we went through. What was your goal? If you're interested in making it in the corporate work, then favourite party songs. One, for instance, would be Signed, Sealed, Delivered by Stevie Wonder. If you want to raise your profile generally, just use a quirkier song. Any 80s songs will do. And if you're a singer-songwriter, instead pick songs by artists to whom you wouldn't mind being compared. Just remember to give the song a full 180. Now, you follow these tips, you've done the auditions, and you've made it onto the show. Congratulations! Unfortunately, making it onto the show was just the beginning and the easiest part. The hard work starts now. The next tip is be fully prepared for the end of the show before the show is even aired. During the show, you'll be getting plenty of attention and possibly phone calls and messages with plenty of opportunities. That will all last a whole 5 minutes, and the opportunities that you get during the show will not be worth following through. Instead, you should be thinking beyond the show. Most people don't understand that these shows are very long drawn. Between the time you audition and the time you're aired, you actually have months to prepare. I did my application for The Voice in July. In September, I'd already done my first few interviews. In October, I'd filmed my blind audition. And in December, I'd already filmed my battle. And personally, I was not shown to the public until the very last Saturday of the following February. So we're talking about a whole 7 months. In that time, you want to have new songs ready, new press, new website, management, and a number of shows booked right after the end of the show. If you want to know specifically how to write new songs, how to make your press pack, how to do your website, how to get management, and how to book shows, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll make videos about each one of these things. The difference between people who go on the shows and get forgotten about and those who keep working is this preparation. So now you know what your goal is and what you're going to do when the show is over. What are you going to do during the show? The next tip is don't buy into your own hype. This really should come without saying, and yet I've seen so many of my friends and colleagues fall for it. Think about it. You're on the show. You get plenty of praise from the judges or the coaches, and you get plenty of praise and love from the producers of the show too. And you get to perform with full-on stage productions, screens behind you, screaming fans. They adore you, there's dancers around you. And then the show is over, and everything will be gone. Do not take yourself too seriously. With all the praise and all the love, you're only on the show for as long as you're needed by the narrative of the show. Luckily, you've been following these tips, and therefore it doesn't matter. You are going to get real fans during and after the show. Which takes us to the next tip. Fight hate with love. With talent shows, you get attention. With attention, you get people's opinions. And in the online world, people love to give you their opinion, especially when it's bad. How can you deal with it? With kindness. When I was on The Voice, because of the way I look and I present myself and I sing, I attracted a lot of attention, for the good and the bad. On my final episode, I wore this massive gown and people went to town with it. They were calling me name, asking questions. Is this even a man? So I decided to respond with a rack campaign. For each nasty message I got, I did a random act of kindness in that person's name, and then I let them know about it. And I've got to say, 8 times out of 10, they apologised and they started following me instead. Some people think that any form of attention is good, I think it can be the case if you turn the negative attention into positive attention. I wrote my single Singing Revolution, which I link at the end of the video, exactly about my experience with hatred and random acts of kindness. And now on to the very final tip. Have fun. Do not stress over your performances. Success on these shows does not equal success in real life. If you truly want to do well in real life after these shows, then make sure you follow the tips that we've just talked about. And now tell me in the comments below, which video would you like next? How to sing? How to riff? How to get management and book shows? If you liked this video and would like to hear more tips on how to navigate the music industry, make sure to subscribe to my channel and get your notifications. I'll be posting new videos every Thursday. Thank you!